Today we look at a really cool new deck from Rane, the Performer. Let's get into it. What's up, my fearless friends? Shayshahn, PhearNone MacPherson, back to you with another gear and gadgets where I like to talk tech, apparel, and gear for musicians, DJs, and artists alike. Today we're getting into the Rane Performer, a 4-deck DJ controller. But first, let's unbox it. The Rane Performer has been out for almost a week or 2 weeks now to the general public, but it's been out to other people since November. Unfortunately, I didn't get one of those pre-sale copies, so I went down to my local store, electronic store, and bought the Rane Performer this week. And boy, it's an exciting piece of gear. It's a DJ platform with 4 platters that you can control and it has 2 moving actual decks like vinyl on top. There's a lot to get into, and a lot of people have already unboxed this and dove into this deck, but I just want to tell you guys from my perspective as a mobile DJ and an instrumentalist what I really like about this deck. And the first thing I really like is effects on the mic. Effects on the mic. Yes, I love when you put effects on the mic, especially multiple effects, and you can control the equalization of your mic. Why that's so important to me is, I like to carve my sound of my violin when it's going into the deck, and I also like to have a little, dramatic echo or reverb on the deck as well if I can, if I can have it. This Rane Performer has 2 mic ins, but there's also a secret on this, or not really a secret, but a workaround for using other devices that can go in. Because it can use 2 turntables on the side, it has phono ins, and those phono ins can be used to send anything into the deck. And what's really cool about that is that allows you to use the 29 effects that are in the deck on whatever source you're sending into the Rane Performer. Of course, for me, that's either going to be voice or that's going to be my violin. And later on, after I go through the other pros that I like about this deck, I'm going to show you how that works. I also like that this deck has an IEC cord, meaning all you need is a ubiquitous IEC cord that can be used in your QSC speakers. It's used for a lot of different gadgets and gear, and I love that that's all you need to work with this deck, for this deck to power on. That means they put all the components that are usually in a power brick or inside this deck. I love the buttons. The buttons really feel great when you push them, especially the start-stop buttons. I really love the feel of it. I can't really explain it. The layout is nice and clean and pretty intuitive. You can really figure out almost everything about this deck just by looking at it. If you're an experienced DJ, you can pretty much figure out 85 to 90% of this deck before you even go to the user manual. I love the screens on the platter. These screens are really detailed and they give you a lot of information. You can see your track list in here while also seeing 2 decks spinning at the same time, which is amazing. You can see the BPM. You can see, how much time is left. You really don't even need to look at your computer with these nice platters that they have on here. The sound card in the Rane Performer is just like the sound card in most of their other units. It's very quality, strong, and just a great sound. The crossfaders and the volume knobs are premium on this deck. I love the way they feel, and they have a lot of features that you can use as far as with their 29 effects that they have in this behemoth of a board. I love that they have the dedicated stem buttons on the deck, and it's laid out in a very easy way so you can get up and running making instrumentals or acapellas on the fly and cut in between and mixing and mashing a whole lot of different music and songs that you might not have the actual instrumental for. I'm still a guy who likes to get the actual instrumental because I feel like the stem technology is not as good as actually having a real instrumental, but to have it on the fly is amazing, and the technology for stems is just going to get better and better. I love the moving platters. They just feel good. And I like the crossfader assignment for the stems as well. There's multiple ways to deal with stems in this board, and I really like it. So let's get into the features that really pertain to me, which is being able to run my violin through this without bringing any other effects or any other mixers or pedals. One way you can do it is just by sending it through the combo jacks that you have back here. And these combo jacks allow you to plug in either XLR or 1/4 inch, which is cool. And I have my mic here, my SM7B, plugged in. And as you can hear, I'm on here. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3. The only little con about it, if you just use the combo jack, is all you get is echo on your mic. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3. Check, 1, 2, 3. Which is cool. And that would be cool for my violin. And in the beginning, I was playing along, just sending the violin through that. But what's even more cool, and if you don't mind bringing one more piece of gear with this 29-pound deck, is if you have something like this, like a canvas or any type of DI or line isolator, you can send it in 1/4 inch and have a wire come out 1/4 inch to RCA, right? So when you have it come to RCA, it's like you're sending in a turntable, but you can send in a turntable, a beat machine, a keyboard, anything like that can go through the deck. So what I'm doing is I'm breaking that out from this DI box and going into channel 3, and anything you send in will take to the effects, and you can take advantage of the built-in effects in the Rane Performer, and you can use some of the effects from Serato. So right now, this is my violin, my electric violin, going through the Rane Performer, and it sounds like any other good mixer. But the only thing about it is dry. And usually, especially with an electric violin, you want some type of effects to make it sound better or make it sound full and less bumblebee-like. And instead of me bringing a pedal, we can use this Rane Performer, which is super cool. Let me turn on some effects. And you can use the paddle. So I could just turn this paddle down. And right now I have it on reverb. And we can hear the reverb. And this is echo. And this is recycler. This is a cool one, scale. Kind of goes down the scale. And you can have the momentary paddles down, or you can just push up and let it hold. That's matrix, the sound they have. And you can have it echo out, which is cool. Like when you end a song, at least for me, I'll end a song and then just to be able to have that echo out on my violin too would be cool. Now these are the 6 effects that come standard, but there's little paddles and buttons here where you can change the effects, change the time, change the beat, the pattern, and really dive in to the decks. And you can send these effects, of course, to either deck, or you can send it to whatever source you're sending in through the phono. So right now, I'm gonna just use the reverb. and we're going to push up. And I have that running through deck 3, and I made deck 3 a line out, and I just plugged into deck 3 with the RCA in the back. And, you know, I can EQ my violin, which I did. So right now I have my Serato on 4-deck mode in the software. And what I'm going to do is, now that I have it in 4-deck mode, you can do so many things. You can prepare way ahead of time and have a whole performance on the performer. This is one of my songs you can get online. And right now, I'm using the drums from one of my songs called Go Figure, and I'm using the chords from a song I have called Wave 7, and I made a mashup, and now I can play my violin over the top. So yeah, there's so many things, so many avenues you can go down with this deck. I really like the way it sounds. I like the way it feels. I love the buttons and the quality, and I like the options on the I/O in the back. Now it's time for maybe some cons, and maybe I can really nitpick, but one con could be if you're a mobile DJ, this is 28 pounds. This thing, if you got to walk more than a block with it, woo, it's going to be heavy. If you got to walk upstairs, and I know a lot of my mobile DJ friends and family on that come to my channel, you know, we like getting into the gig and getting out and having a small deck and just hitting it and quitting it. This deck, you need a little more setup. You need to be getting paid a little bit more. And, you know, this is for the weddings. This is for the big corporate events. This is for something, you know, where you really want to make an impression. And, you know, to be honest, a lot of clients look at something like this and automatically think you're kind of like a pro or something like that, which is unfortunate. But, you know, it's like that with everything, cameras, all tech. Another con could be the size as well, which, you know, it's relatively small if you're talking about actual 2 turntables and a real mixer. You know, I'm really nitpicking. So, you know, maybe the size is too big for you. It definitely can fit in any backseat of a car. But if you're taking any public transportation, maybe that could be an issue. The price, $2,000. That's steep if you're just beginning, if you're just getting into it for a hobby. But, you know, my prime goal is $1,000. when it came out. And this is giving you moving platters and some more features. And, really, I think it's a good price, but it might be high. This is a pro deck, so it's really not for a beginner unless you're a rich beginner. Another con could be that this deck doesn't have a battery in it, so it's not standalone. We're in the technology age of where we can just go in the forest and DJ, and the battery is in the actual deck. I don't see any way to do that with this deck, but hopefully the next one, the next Rane Performer will just be battery powered and take one less thing that you need. I'm sure it'll make the controller 38 pounds though. So yeah, that's basically it. I just wanted to give you my quick pros and cons and my first impressions of this deck. It's really one of the best decks that I've ever worked on, to be honest. This deck is amazing. For $2,000, I think you're getting a lot, and it's a lot of fun to work with. It feels great. The knobs are great. One other con that scares me is there's a little switch down here that I feel for the microphone that I feel could break. Maybe this little joystick up here could break too. You can throw that into my cons list as well. But other than that, I'm really stretching to get negatives on this board. I'm going to be performing a lot with it. I'm going to perform on my performance channel and really try to integrate this into my set. I have so many ideas and ways I could use this and really get cutting and so many fun features. If you have any questions about this deck, while I have this deck and while I decide whether or not I'm going to keep one of the best decks I've ever had, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Help me build this channel. And I really appreciate you stopping by and checking out the Rane Performer. Once again, my name is Shayshahn, PhearNone MacPherson. Peace.